Hi there, Zamir from NerdTube. These are my thoughts and spoilers of Rivals, a series currently on Disney Plus, starring David Tennant, Alex Hassel, and Aidan Turner. This is a really good show. I had a fantastic time watching this series. It is a comedy, but more a dramedy, if there's such a word. Series, black comedy for sure. About rich people doing rich people things, rivalry between rich people with some middle class or not necessarily rich people also thrown in the mix just to add a bit of flavour to all these different elements and dimensions. The show is set in the 1980s. It's about television stations, rival television stations at one particular point, but not necessarily the stations, but the people who own the stations having rivalries with other people for various reasons, personal reasons, business reasons, you name it, it's all there. David Tennant plays Lord Tony Baddingham, one of the main characters in this show. Somebody initially you thought could be somebody you would root for, but nearly everyone in this series is kind of shades of grey. Probably Aidan Turner's character of Declan O'Hara seems to be the person you root for the most. He seems to have a lot more good intentions than anybody else. And also there's Rupert Campbell, played by Alex Hassel, who is a recognizable face. He played Translucent in The Boys. Yeah, he's very good in this. He plays a Lothario of sorts, somebody who's not necessarily, he's not necessarily a bad guy, but and I wouldn't even necessarily say he's a womanizer. Women just happen to love him, and he just takes the opportunity of shagging them and all of that because he's a serial shagger, and he's a charmer and all of that. There's elements to this person's character, and that's the thing with this series. There's so much grey with so many people. Some people are a bit darker grey than lighter grey, but nevertheless, it's just a great show. When you see all the elements come together, and when it comes to the rivalries and the relationships and some of the comical elements, without doubt, though, my favorite character in this series is played by Danny Dye's character of Freddie Jones. Freddie Jones is just brilliant. He's somebody who is from a working class background, but as you get to know him, you realize he's not a fucking idiot. He got to where he is because he's a smart guy, an intelligent guy who remembers his roots, and he's a nice person too. And there's just layers to him. You realize, wow, this guy can speak Japanese and all of these sort of things. He just knows shit because he's had to learn shit. He hasn't just reached to the top because of his position, and through nepotism or anything like that. He's got his way to the top through being the person that he is, and it really also makes you like him. Yeah, he seems to be one of the more lighter grey characters, definitely, as well. Somebody you want to root for. There's a really good female cast in this series as well. It's not just about the men. All types of women are in here. Bella McLean plays Agatha, Aidan Turner's daughter. She's somebody who's got to sing for Rupert Campbell, and Rupert Campbell's kind of got to sing for her, but they're not really supposed to go with their instinct, so to speak, because it would be wrong. There's Emily Attack, I think her name is, who plays Sarah Stratton. She's somebody who wants to climb up the ladder, so to speak, and she sleeps around a little bit here and there. But at the same time, she's very unfulfilled, which is also the same for Maud O'Hara, who's played by Victoria Smurfit, who plays Aidan Turner's wife. She also feels a little bit empty inside. To Catherine Parkinson, who plays Lizzie Varecki, similar vibe, but it's all different. It's just really well put together. It's very hard for me to talk in detail on this show because there's so much detail in here. It's really well put together. The story goes along at a decent pace. It's so funny at times, but without it being, it's not this Americana type of humor. It's British humor. It's done with subtlety, and there's a quaintness to it. It's not necessarily in your face, and it makes fun of scenarios and circumstances in a way that makes it work. But the drama is there as well. Like, it's not forgetting what the show is. There is a drama. It can be quite dark and deceiving too. So, oh, and another character I've forgotten to mention is Cameron Cook, played by Nafessa Williams. I don't even know if she's American or not. Let me just quickly check. Is she an American actress? Yes, she is. Couldn't tell if the American accent was real or not. But yeah, she's an American actress, and she's fucking brilliant in this as well. You know, being a black woman coming from America, working in England in the 1980s, and how she doesn't let some of the sort of negativities of that period push her down from being an outsider, especially as a black woman in England during that particular period. She's able to hold her own ground. If anything, she ends up having more men groveling to her than her having to grovel to these white guys, because she's just such a powerful character and a beautiful woman to boot. Yeah, it's just really, really, really good. I had such a good time with this show. You know, it's really enjoyable to watch a show where you're focusing on all types of people who have certain good moments but can be real assholes most of the time, people who are maybe people you could root for but has sort of stupid moments, which makes you wonder what the fuck were you doing. You know, why are you being such a fucking idiot? And then people who you realise, well, they're not necessarily bad, but they're not necessarily good. You know, you can't really hate on them for who they are, but at the same time, they don't really do themselves any favours, if you know what I mean. Yeah, there's all types of people. Like, it's just a great, really, really good show, and I think I'm saying that a bit too much. I really can't explain more than that, but I do recommend to watch it. You can have a good time with this. You know, if you are looking for something that is a little bit devilish at times, you can have a good time with this show. It's brilliant, and the soundtrack is fantastic. You know, all this 80s music. The series starts in 1986, goes into 1987, and just the soundtrack is just absolutely superb. I love it. I'm going to give the show a 9 out of 10. I had such a good time. I did not expect this series to be as good as it is. It's brilliant. It really is absolutely brilliant. And anybody who likes you know, this sort of adult orientated content, it's definitely not made for kids. It's not a family show. Far from it. You know, the sex, drugs, rock and roll elements are immersed in this at times. So yeah, it's definitely something not for little Jimmy, even though it's on Disney Plus here in the UK. I don't know what it's on in America, but who gives a fuck what it's on in America? I'm in the UK, and this is the channel I watched it on, Disney Plus. So yeah, watch this series. I recommend it. As I said earlier, 9 out of 10. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest social media channel you never heard of. Take care now. Bye bye.